Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwantner and welcome to Selling Power TV. Today we have the pleasure of meeting with Dr. Chris Kroner. He's the author of a wonderful new book called Never Hire a Bad Salesperson Again.
Thank you so much, Gerhard. Wonderful to be here with you.
Give me a couple of examples where you have tested salespeople that have that high achievement factor. What do they look like?
They're a little bit different than the average bear. You know, the person who is high in need for achievement, when they come into the interview, for example, they've got their portfolio with them. So they're ready during that interview to share with you all of their achievements. You get someone who loves answering those tough behavioral interview questions. You know, tell me about the greatest goal you ever accomplished professionally, then how do you intend to top it? They love those. Salespeople, however, who don't have that high need for achievement, don't like those types of questions. You know, they will sit there and they'll break out into a sweat and they're thinking, okay, I'm enjoying the time with you, Gerhard, but I'm telling you, these questions are hard, and so they'll at that point they'll want to leave. You know, they don't have that degree of comfort answering questions like that. Whereas someone high in drive loves to be put up to the plate. They love to be put in that position where they can knock it out of the park. It's their chance to shine.
So you're saying you do those tests face-to-face and also online?
Yes. You know, we have the face-to-face interview that we recommend companies do that we describe in the book, but our key offering to organizations is our online drive test to help weed out people before they ever get to that interview who maybe, again, actors or pretenders. They're going to waste your time in the interview.
So a lot of companies say that we want to hire to a certain profile that matches the customer. How does the sales drive help you?
The challenge that companies face when they decide to hire to a profile that matches the customer is that they typically start going for things like industry knowledge, industry experience, and all of that is good. That's great. But in addition to those things, I want to make sure that I'm looking at those teachable, innate characteristics that really determine, okay, the person may know how to sell, but will they sell? That's the differentiator, and that's what we focus on, rather than, again, just industry experience. Anybody can get that from a resume.
It makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, describe the worst interviewing experience you've had.
Probably the most challenging interview experience I think I ever had. It was a situation where we were interviewing in LAX airport. We actually had a suite at the airport hotel. And I'm interviewing someone, and there's a low light right over that table, and it was late in the day. And I'm asking him question after question. That low light's there. It's almost like an interrogation. He's breaking into a sweat. At one point he says, "Can I sit down on the couch?" So he sits down on the couch, or lies down, and I'm sitting there next to him taking notes. I was like a psychologist, you know. And I was thinking, what a great opportunity to show him, in this particular case, that getting into a high-pressure job, particularly the high-pressure world of sales, may not be the thing for him.
So let's talk about that high pressure. How do you spot somebody who can meet deadlines, who can live in a high-pressure cooker situation, let's say like technology sales? Mm-hmm. How do you test for that?
Well, you start out again with your phone screen process, asking the questions relative to those three characteristics. Then you move on to the drive test. And now you've got two great pieces of data to decide, do we bring the person into the interview? And if we do bring that person in, where do we go? Then you sit that person down during that interview and you ask those well-constructed behavioral interview questions for the three characteristics as well as all of the other traits that are important in that particular role.
Does the test apply to all industries?
Yes, the test really applies in any situation where we are looking for a hunter salesperson.
Right. But there are really two types of sales. One is sort of the transactional sale, and the other one, the relational sales process, where it may go over 9 months or a year and a half.
Oh, absolutely, and especially in that relationship process, when you're dealing with a situation where you have a long sales cycle, especially if your product is relatively new, you better make sure that person has the optimism necessary to succeed. A lot of people do not look at that, and they end up, again, being in a situation where that person feels like they're overwhelmed and they end up quitting. You need a person for whom, even on their darkest day, they know that they're going to be successful.
Can you share an experience on how reluctant sometimes sales leaders are when it comes to introducing the idea of testing?
Absolutely. You know, many times throughout the year, I speak to groups on the characteristics that differentiate high-performing salespeople. And one of the frequent things I'll see are managers sitting within that group like this at the beginning, because they're comfortable using hunches. What's this guy going to do, Dr. Christopher Kroner? What's he going to say that's going to change my mind? And one of the frequent questions I ask those folks at the beginning of that session is to think about a time. Have any of you, raise your hand, if any of you have ever been burned by a salesperson who looked good in the interview, who said all the right things to you, but ended up being an underperformer. And very, very rarely do I ever get to finish that sentence without everybody raising their hand. And then I'll say to them, okay, of the group that raised your hand, I would like all of you to right now concentrate on the person that you have in mind and think about that individual as we move through the presentation. At that point, people start to relax, the arms are uncrossed, and now they're engaging with me and asking questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know that technology is changing everything. Dr. Kronos Drive Test is a next generation tool that can dramatically improve your chances of hiring only the high potential sales candidates. If you want to build a winning sales team, I suggest you contact him directly, and the number and website is on the screen.